Hello again everyone, Ken from Whittling Woods back again with another whittling wood carving tutorial. Today we're going to use this little chunk of basswood and carve one of these little, kind of stylized skulls. This one here is missing a few teeth and what have you. We're just, these were two little practice pieces I did. I think I did it on either side of this. You can see I cut them out. But anyway, what we're going to do here is use this chunk of wood. It's 1.25 inches in this dimension over here. This is going to be the depth. In other words, the skull is going to be like that in the wood. So it's 1.25 inches that way, and 1.25 inches long, and then 1 inch on the other side. So we've got 1 inch, 1.25 inches, and 1.25 inches. So it's essentially, this is kind of square. It looks a little angled here because I cut off a piece from the prior carving. And then we're going to mark a 7/8 inch mark over here because this is going to be the bottom of the skull and where the teeth are. And again, it's not including the bottom jaw, just the upper teeth in that area. And what I do is I cut there's a little cut in here. I use a saw and I cut down just to about that 7/8 inch mark, maybe a little bit past the halfway mark. And I scribe halfway lines across every plane, even the top. And so that's it. We're going to use these two North Bay Forge knives, but use whatever whittling knife, medium-sized knife, and maybe if you have a small detail knife, you can use that. You can probably get away with one knife on this whittle as well. It's pretty straightforward to do. And that's about it. So I'm going to get everything set up, and I will be right back. Okay, here we are. Just going to take down the edge a bit. The initial block of wood was about 6 inches long, so I carved a couple test pieces out, and you can get about three skulls. It'd be little. I mean, you could technically do one in this part as well, but it gets a little tricky to hold. So I like to give myself a little room to hold. So there you go. I'm just taking down the edge a bit, and then I start just rounding the skull out. So we're going to kind of round it. We want the peak of the skull to be here. And obviously, so I'm going to whittle curving around, but leave just a little bit of a mark there. And then on the back too, we want the depth of the skull to, want that to be the kind of the point farthest out. So we're going to leave a little mark there. So I'm just going to kind of come around and start to whittle it back a little bit on all sides, even the front. This will be the front. You hear a little noise in the background. It's just wind. It's a breezy June day here. The temperature's been really spectacular. We had for early first week in June, we had temperatures down into the 50s last night, and today it's peaking at upper 70s or so. So it's really comfortable, and I think the next few days are supposed to be the same. But it's really beautifully breezy outside. And enjoy them while we can, because around here, summertime, it can get pretty hot and humid. So that's all I'm doing. I'm just going to go around here and round off that skull and just get it to that center point. So when I'm finished with that, I'll be right back. And then over here, we're going to start taking this area in. This will be right where that line is going to be the base of the skull. So we're just going to kind of come in here. And that's the advantage of cutting that out. You can see it makes it very easy to get these pieces out. You just kind of come in here with your knife and remove them. Like I said, when you cut that line in, don't go too far. Go maybe just past the halfway mark. You want to secure it on the piece that you're holding. If you cut it too far, it'll be too weak. And then we're going to be cutting back the sides of the teeth quite a bit. They're gonna probably wind up coming out to about here or so, give or take. So we don't want to weaken it too much while we're doing this. So that's all I'm doing here. I'm just kind of going through, and I'm going to I'll show you here, I'm going to put a little stop cut right at that mark, just in the wood over there, and another one over here. We're going to whittle this whole section back, but I do this just to kind of remind me. And essentially all this wood underneath here is going to be removed. Some of it will come off when we cut the piece off at the end, but like I said, I try to get most of the whittle out of the way before I cut it, because then it becomes, these are small if you're doing this, if you're upscaling the dimensions I gave you by 2 or so, then you know, you can probably not have to worry about that as much. But on a small piece like this, and these are kind of cool because they're small enough where, you know, if somebody's into it, you can draw a hole through the center of it, like where the ears would be, and you can wear it as a necklace or something. You know, if you're into that kind of stuff. So anyway, I'm just going to go through here and clean up that bottom just a little bit more. Once that's all done, I'll be right back. So we went in here and I just removed some of that wood on the bottom there, and then I'm just going to round off the back just a bit here. So I kind of come around. Same thing. We're just kind of creating that curve in the back of your skull. Again, keeping in mind that we want to keep the length on here, so don't whittle too much of it away while you're doing this. You can sort of round out the sides as well. So there you go. Probably going to wind up whittling this back just a bit more. And you can see I left a little mark on the top there where my lines intersected. That's going to be, again, the high point of the skull. Try to get the bulk of your shaping done. You know, like I said, before you remove the piece from the block of wood. It's just easier, especially in, like I said, in format this way. So kind of like that. All right. And we take this here. So what you're going to want to do here is establish where the eye is going to be, and from here to the top, this is about the center line. I would say right about there is the center line. I like to come slightly above that because I believe the eye should be pretty much in the center of the ball of the skull, and I'm going from here to here. So if you look at it that way, I'd start it right about here or so. This is where we're going to make a line in here, like so, stop cut, and then cut up to that. This will eventually be the bridge of the bones that form the, I guess it's the septum of your nose, or you know, that bridge of your nose really, and also part of the eye socket as well. And the eye socket's actually kind of come back a little way, so you can kind of go in here and whittle a little bit of wood on either side of that cut, kind of like at a bit of an angle here, just to kind of open it up a bit, just like so. And like I mentioned, these are very stylized, so you know, if you're looking for an anatomy lesson, you've come to the wrong channel. So we're going to basically put the eye sockets in here. The nose area is going to be here, but again, it's not going to be nose. It's basically a hole, and it's kind of raised up a little bit. This is, like I said, the bridge of the nose is still there, but then the bottom is, you know, the main bulk of it is not. So over here, what I like to do is establish the line for the upper jaw, and we're going to make that right from where we drew that line. And I believe this line from here to here, that length there is about 1/4 of an inch. So I'm going to take that here, and I'm going to just roll my knife around and match it up on the other side over here, as close as I possibly can. You can kind of get a little creative with these, because if you want to make it more of a, like, you know, Neanderthal, caveman kind of thing, you can make the jaw bigger, the brow larger. You know, you can play around or make it more spooky looking, whatever. You know, we're going to go with, well, we're going to see what comes out first off. Then I'm just going to kind of whittle that back just a little bit, just to kind of define those planes for the time being. As I mentioned, this area, I'm going to be removing wood on either side of the outside of my knife, where my knife is right here. This portion over here is going to go. So, but we're going to worry about that in a little bit, not right now. What you can do here is also establish the bottom of the teeth line, but I kind of wait for that too, to be honest with you. It doesn't just keep your line in there. For the nose, what I like to do is I want to keep this bridge area here, so I like to kind of just put a line right here. It's kind of like when we carve if you've watched any of my videos on carving the nose, I want to come in right about here and just put a line down here and a line down there, and then I cut the wood out on either side of that. It's similar to what we do when we carve the face, you know, similar. Obviously, we're not carving a nose here. All right, and then I start to kind of square that off a little bit. I'm sure I have the picture up over here so you can kind of see where we're heading with this thing. But this is going to be the your jawbone over here, or not, excuse me, your cheekbone in this area, and these are going to be, we'll cut a little, we'll open this up in here a little bit for where the hole for the nose would be. What I do typically is I come back over here and I start angling the cheekbones just a little bit, like so. I'm going to kind of deepen that a bit. Like I mentioned, we're going to be cutting these back like so, and here, and in here you can kind of come up like that. You can kind of come below your mark here and then bring your knife up to get it in there. That's kind of where we're at here so far. All right. For the eyes, what we want to do is I also want to, I kind of want to continue that line up a little further because I want to deepen the eyes a bit more. So right where we made that nose area, I'm going to deepen that a little bit, and then we're going to kind of come in here and start scooping out a little bit of wood just to create the indication that we got a bit of an eye socket in there. So I kind of remove that wood and I kind of come back on either side of it like so, just to kind of open it up. All right, and then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. So let me do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, that's where we're at. We just, I just kind of came in here, and we'll probably change these a little bit. And I come in here and I just scoop a little bit of wood. I might switch to the smaller knife to do that. But like I said, you could probably do it with a medium-sized knife like this one, like that, just to kind of clean that up a little bit in there. We'll shape it a little bit better. And then what we want to do is taper the jaw. Excuse me, I'm saying jaw, cheekbone areas back a little bit. So I kind of come in here and I just start to remove that wood on either side of the nose and then underneath the eye. I'm gonna cut down like so. If you can see how that was done. And then I come back and I do the same thing on this side. What I'm trying to do is, again, leave a bit of wood in the center there for what we're going to establish as the little hole for where the nose is. But we want the bone up a little bit on either side. So just kind of come in here and start going down underneath the cheekbone to where the nose is, just to kind of deepen that. If you can kind of see how I did that. If you're following along. If you're just watching, then enjoy. just kind of cleaning up a little bit underneath the eyes and where the nose are, where the nose is. Kind of like that. But I'm going to even bring this in just a little bit more for the eye. I want to deepen this a little bit more. And you come in here and you can clean out the inside with your knife for the cut you made from before on either side. And that's kind of what we're left with over here so far. You can kind of come in here, coming underneath the line we made. So don't whittle all that away just yet, and just get to where we think the teeth should end. And they're usually about midpoint in the eye. So we're going to come to about that point over there, and they're going to start carving around the head. Like I said, if you want your character to be more primitive looking in terms of evolution, then you can whittle it back so it looks more Neanderthal, or excuse me, leave a little bit more wood to make a nice big jaw and a nice big brow. So we're you can kind of see where that is over there. These aren't overly complicated to do. You take your time like anything. Take it step by step and practice on a few of them. They're great little whittles for for just because they're kind of fun to have. Human skull's kind of cool. So there we go. That's where we're at this point over here. So again, this is going to be the jaw and the teeth down in here. So we're not going to whittle too much of that away. What we can do is angle this a little bit more, bottom of the nose area. Calling it a nose, but again, I like to make this area in here come to a bit of a point, so I kind of come in here and I notch off the bottoms just a bit. There you go. What we're going to do is probably with a slightly smaller knife, come and scoop out a little wood in there. This area in here for the nose should be a bit of a indentation in the main bulk area of the nose over here. So you can kind of come down from the bottom and scoop up a little bit. And then keep your bridge in there as well. So we're kind of like that so far, if you can kind of see how that is, and we'll clear some wood out. There you go. I think for some of this now I'm going to maybe switch to the smaller knife. Give that a shot. So let me grab my smaller knife and I'll be right back. Okay, I have the smaller knife here. Just makes it a little easier for getting in these spots over here. We want to get the cheekbone down just a little bit more towards the nose over there. So if you can kind of see where I'm doing, I'm coming in here and I'm deepening it just a little bit more right against the nose, right in here. And I'm going to do that on both sides. That's about it. And then what I do is I start coming and I kind of follow the shape of the head, or excuse me, the brow. I wanted to create a little bit of a raised area, right? Not a lot. So I kind of come back and I just follow the curve of the eyes, and I just kind of come around. And I start taking out a little wood. In the temple area, which would be right about here, I tend to come in and I scoop out a little bit of wood. Sometimes I probably should have kept the bigger knife out for that. You're going to come right in here and scoop out a little bit of wood. Sometimes in the center what I do is I'll come in here and I'll start to carefully scoop out a little wood, because I kind of want the brow areas to wrap around to the bridge of the nose just a little bit. But again, like I said, if you're aiming for a Neanderthal look, then make the brow a little bit broader, or caveman. I'm saying Neanderthal, but if people don't understand that for some reason, they know caveman. Let's go with that. Although I hesitate to call Neanderthals cavemen because it's not really the case. But anyway, this isn't an anthropology lesson. I'm just shaping the cheekbone here by coming in again and shaping it to where I think it's sufficient. And I think with that we can start working on the teeth. What I can do here is just kind of come in, and again I'm trying not to remove all that line. I want to keep the, although you can just redraw it, but I want to get under here and use the wood that we're going to be cutting away and just kind of whittle up. It just makes it easier to do the teeth this way than trying to cut. If you cut in here and then try to cut down to it, it's a little more difficult. So this makes it better. You can create a bit of a curve in the jaw area. So with that, we're very close to being done with this figure here. I'm trying to keep this a little on the shorter side. What I want to do is establish the where the teeth and the jawbone actually come together. So I'm going to come down about this is where the teeth are going to end, give or take, like right here. So just sort of below where the where this little cut for the nose is here. I'm just going to bring that up a little bit more. There we go. I want to come in over here. I hope you can see where I'm at, and just put a bit of a line in here. I'm going to carry that right around to the side, and the same thing over here. I'm just going to bring that right around, roll my knife with it, and kind of see. And then I'm going to just cut up to it. This is basically would be where your teeth go into your gum, I guess. The jawbone, the upper jawbone. And then we can come in here with where that mother mark was for the teeth, and now we can start defining those. So we're going to kind of come around here. Actually, I'm going to bring this in just a bit more. They stick out just a little too much. Whittle some of this back so it makes it easier to get to. On both sides over here. All right. So there we go. What you want to do is just shape this to where you want it. I'm just removing some wood so it makes it easier to get in over here. I like to angle this area down a little bit as well. Kind of like that. You can kind of see that. And then what I'm going to come back here. First, I want to put a little separation here for the two front teeth. So we're just going to put that in there for the time being. And I'll use a smaller knife for doing that. There's a couple of things now we can look at and make sure we have our cheeks the way we want them. cheekbones, I should say. Look at it from the side. And from this side as well. Make it wrap around a little bit. I'll give you a look at it from this standpoint. Okay. Again, I'm going to come in here with a bit of an indentation in your skull over here and over here. And leave it at that. So let me grab my smaller knife, and I'm going to put a line here. Then I'm going to come over here and put another line. I'm just going to make the teeth. I'm going to go around here and put, like, you know, maybe 4 or 5 teeth on each side. And I know we have more teeth than that, but again, this isn't an anatomy lesson. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4 on that side, and 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. All right. And what I do is I come in and to separate the teeth a little bit better. You can leave it with the lines just like so, but I would come in here and I'll just kind of carefully go along each edge and just kind of round them out a bit. That's all. I just like the way that looks, I think. And once I get one edge done, I do it on all sides. I flip it around and I do the other side. So I come back in here and then I'll take this side. And that's all. I'm just going to finish that and I'll be right back. Okay, so we're pretty far along here, almost done really. I'm just going to kind of taper up this part of the jaw towards the nose just a little bit. I want to kind of like that. You have to go through and clean up any of your edges. For the nose, we're going to just I'm not sure what it'd be called, nostril holes, whatever. We're just going to basically, like I said, come right in here. You can round that, just curve that just a little bit more before we do it. Again, can you see it? There's a little bit of an indentation there. Maybe move the bridge in those back a little bit further. And then what I do is I just open that up a little bit. So I come in here and I kind of take my knife. And this is kind of like I guess more like a chip cut. We're going to kind of come in here, kind of curve it around a bit, just a bit, and then come back on the other side. And I'm trying to do this under the camera over here, and then just you know, remove a little bit of wood in the center there, and then just come around and clean it up a bit. It's a little sloppy. I usually do this a little bit closer to my face, but so I can see what I'm doing. But just basically, you're coming in here, you're scooping out wood on one side, and you're scooping out wood on the other side to create a bit of a hole in there. That's all. Take your time. Don't do it under a camera, otherwise it'll be a lot harder. And something along that line, just to open that up a bit. I'm just going to clean that up and come right back, and we should be almost finished with this one. that's basically it. Just, you just want to kind of open that up a bit, and then, you can taper the bottom a little bit, I guess. Get it to, just clean it up to whatever level you want. And then I kind of come back and I start just finishing it up, basically. That's all. So I might just bring the cheekbones on the sides up a little bit more. Round it out a little bit more around the eyes. I think we're looking pretty good. And then for the bottom of the teeth, we can come in here, and again we're just rolling our knife around. I'm going to just put a little stop cut and kind of start to carefully cut up to those. The nice thing about this is that if you chip a tooth here, it doesn't cost as much as going to the dentist. And actually, no, actually it looks kind of cool. You can remove a tooth, and it just adds a little character to it. So I guess some people, like I said, could wear these as a necklace or something, or put it on your keychain or whatever. There's kind of fun things you can do with them, or just leave them around. That's all. So what I do here is I just keep coming up underneath the teeth. Kind of like so. And eventually we'll put our saw in there, and we'll remove the piece here. It's getting pretty close to almost coming off now as it is. So I don't want to push it too much, because I want to just take the final opportunity to go back and do any kind of cleanup that I need. Remove any pencil marks like down in here, up on the top. Much easier to do all that kind of stuff when you have it on, when you have something to hold on to, than waiting till after you cut it off to do this. So kind of come around and start just doing whatever final cleanup you feel is needed. Mostly removing your pencil marks, maybe final rounding. And that's kind of where we're at here. And then we're going to remove it, and I'm going to come back, and I'm going to actually even take more wood away from in here, because this is going to come up a little bit higher. So let me do that while I have it on here still. Kind of sit like that. All right. And then we'll remove this, and we'll finish cleaning up the base just a little bit. Once I cut off, it's going to pop right off now if I'm not careful. So, so there you go. That's pretty much a fairly straightforward little skull whittle to do. I'll go about whatever little finalizing cleanups I want to do on here, and I'll cut it off, and once it's off, I'll show you how I just clean up the bottom. Alrighty, be right back. Okay, it's pretty much as far as I want to take it for the most part. What I do is to cut it, I'm going to come right in here with, I have this little saw here that I use, and I'll come right underneath where the teeth are, and I'll kind of just, it doesn't take much, because there you go. So that's the piece cut off. Now I'm just going to, I just wanted to show you how I cut it off. I'm going to come back and grab my knife, and I'll clean up the bottom. I'll show you what I do. All right, be right back. Okay, so there's the piece. What I do is I just kind of come back in here, and I'll just start cleaning up the any edge, any missing part over here, any broken part. Like so. You could kind of just leave it like that. What I do sometimes is I'll come in here And right in the middle, I'll put a little cut, and I'll start just taking out little chunks just to make it look a little bit more realistic, you know, in terms of teeth. Like it curves around, you know. That's all. Just I kind of come in here, and you're cutting right down into the end grain. So just, you know, be careful. Wear protection on your hands. Don't be, you know, like those silly carvers that don't wear any protection on their hands. But be safe, please. So now I'm just going to come in here, and I just flatten the bottom out a bit more. That's all. So you're kind of right on the limit right there for you. I like so. All right, I'm just going to do the final cleanup, and I'll show you what it looks like right at the end. Be right back. Okay, I'm going to call this one done here. There's our final little skull guy over here. Here's what he looks like. It was you know, they're kind of fun to do. They take a little time. I'll give you a profile view. There you go. So I kept the teeth a little bit on the big side because well, I think it looks more, you know, it's fun, more interesting looking. So there you go. We got all the skull details in there, and that's about the end of this one. So I hope you found that entertaining and fun and maybe useful to those of you give it a shot. Let me know what you think in the comments. Alrighty, I'll talk to you soon. Have a great whittling week. Take care.